Thank you and good afternoon. I'm Jonathan, and I usually don't present myself because Israel is such a small country that everyone knows everyone, and it's so small that I take a few different roles. I'm the legal counsel for the Israeli digital rights movement, so if anyone is looking for an EFF equivalent in Israel, it's the digital rights movement. I do that as a pro bono. I actually wrote the appeal to the Supreme Court against the Israeli biometric database, and we're on a day-to-day going forward on legislation to enhance your privacy. I consult Wikimedia Israel on their legal framework here. I work with the Israeli Bitcoin Association on legal matters. I work with Hamakor, Israel's open source society relating to copyright and other free software related issues. I teach in the Kiryat Ono Academic Center. I have a free speech clinic where if you ever need help protecting your speech, it's us. We represent civil activists who are being litigated for their speech. And I teach in the Holon Institute of Technology a course in information technology law. That's all my non-profit work. I also consult startups and high-tech companies in issues relating to privacy, copyright, cryptocurrency regulation, and all which is Lex Informatics. But today we'll be talking about token regulation, and it's tokens, not coins, not cryptocurrencies, just tokens. We'll talk about why should we regulate tokens, how different regulators will treat these tokens differently. We will not talk about taxation issues, but I just want to put a point down. If you're a startup doing an initial token distribution or an ICO if you want, but you can also call it a speculative currency allotment method, scam. It's also a method that you can use. But if you want to do that, the first taxation issue is that your tokens are property. And as property, when you sell that for a business, for profit, unlike receiving an investment where you don't have to pay tax on money coming in such speculative coin allotment method, you will have to pay taxes on your revenue. Meaning, if you have an ICO of, let's say, $200 million, you might have to pay almost $100 million in taxes later on, but we will not discuss tax issues today. We will only discuss speculative currency issues. Now, this talk goes way back. Someone reminded me that back in 2014, I gave a talk about crypto crowdfunding basics. And we dealt with the various issues relating to crypto crowdfunding projects and how crowdfunding projects for cryptocurrency should be regulated and how to avoid being considered a security when you do a crypto crowdfunding event. But back then, no one, actually not no one, people didn't think of ICOs. But I want to go back to this guy. Let's go back to 2009, 10, 11. Magic the Gathering Online Exchange, a website for geeks exchanging Magic cards. Magic the Gathering was a game, people liked it, they bought and sold cards, but they wanted to trade cards for money, and then they wanted to trade cards via Bitcoin, and then the cards just went away, and the website MTGOX, Magic the Gathering Online Exchange, remained, and this guy managed it. But Bitcoin was worth, let's say, $1, $10. It was not money. It was not deemed as money. People didn't think of it as money back then, but they did exchange it. Some people made a hefty profit. They mined or bought Bitcoin when it was 1 cent per 1,000 Bitcoins, or when it was just initially traded, like the guy back in 2010 who bought pizza for 10,000 Bitcoins, 2 pizzas actually, Papa John's. But people wanted to make more money. And the price of Bitcoin went up and up and up, got to $13. But people said, well, if I have my Bitcoin, I want to start a business. Again, so this guy, and I don't know if you can see that, posted on Reddit that he has a Bitcoin casino. He had a very effective casino called 1209k.com that had, I don't think you can call it a smart contract, but it had a contract. You sent Bitcoins to a specific address, and it sent you back your winnings if you won. It was a dice game. You had 70% chance for one wallet, 50% chance on another wallet address. And he said, well, I made 146 Bitcoins off of it. I made a good profit. I want to cash out. Does anyone want to buy it from me? The website is called Satoshi Dice. So he offered it for sale, and allegedly this guy, Eric Voorhees, bought it off him and said, well, I'll start my own dice business, a casino. How did the casino operate? Well, it was very easy. The casino allowed people to send money and get it back. No registration required, no fiat sum, no deposits. It was transparent. You could see any wallet and see all the transactions and verify, have trust, something you do not have in regular casinos. You get this website. This is a current screenshot of Satoshi Dice, not a previous one. And you can decide what are your chances on winning. The house takes its rent, and you just win. You verify your winnings. You know first how much money you're going to make. And it was profitable. People like to gamble. People like to lose money. People don't know math. They think they're better in odds than others, and they just gamble. But Voorhees made quite a good profit and said, well, this profit isn't enough. Here you can see the wallet. I'll do an IPO. That was back in 2012, early 2012, August. He said, I'll sell you shares of my casino. Just send me Bitcoins to this address, and when we get some profit back, I'll pay you back your share in the company. Your own shares. It's not a regular company. It's not traded anywhere. It's not listed. It's just a virtual company. And was there any prospectus? No. Were people able to verify the revenues? Yes. They could have went to that specific address and see how many revenues were generated, what were the profits, and how much money will they expect to win. This transparency was very nice because people could find that this casino is not that profitable. How come? Because in order to get a return on your investment, a Reddit user calculated, you needed around 10 years of work just to get your money back. The profits were 10% a year. It's not enough when Bitcoin by itself was growing 100-folds each year. This wasn't a good investment, but people still invested. Why? Because they invested in Bitcoin, and their returns are in Bitcoin as well. The security was traded on this online exchange, MPEX. This is how it looked back then. This is how it looks now. Don't look for anything uber sophisticated. It's just a website that allows you to buy shares or equity in virtual companies that are not actual companies. They're not listed. They're just a game. But you get your money back. You get profits if you find people to sell these shares. There's another one called Gleebzy, and it's a bigger one. It looks kind of better, but it was closed down. But still, these stock exchanges allowed you to trade stocks in cryptocurrency businesses. What were the cryptocurrency businesses? Mostly, there were mining rigs. You set up a mining company, a Bitcoin mining company, and said, well, I have so much computing power, I'll let you share my profits. You'll invest in my crypto rig and we'll share profits. You'll buy stocks in my share. So you sold shares in mining companies. You sold mining contracts, which all were sold here against some sum. Most people lost their money like any other investment. But when you lose your money, everything is okay because you don't ask questions. An investment is very risky, and when you invest your money, you expect it to go down in value in most cases and to lose it. But if a startup is closed, if a business is closed, you usually don't ask questions. You will not ask, why was this closed down? You will ask, why didn't I make enough money if the company is profitable? You will ask, why was someone embezzling if you find embezzlement? But if the company goes down, if there's no business, there's no problem. Now, it took a few months, almost a year, and Satoshi Dice bought out all the shares. They bought out all the shares from people because an unaffiliated third party offered Voorhees the option to buy out all the shares from Satoshi Dice and set up Satoshi Dice as an independent operation. Voorhees was fair enough to pay people back their money plus a premium. Not that big of a premium. He calculated the premium as 175% premium, but it's a premium on the dollar value, not on the Bitcoin value, but never mind. He paid people their money back. Now, Voorhees allegedly stopped working with Satoshi Dice after this transaction, and Satoshi Dice continued its operation as a gambling website. However, this was mostly due because of this investor alert. The Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States issued an alert saying that trading virtual currency may be risky, you may lose your money, and we're starting to look into it. Closely after they issued this, they issued another paper, less readable for most people. This is the settlement between Voorhees and the Securities and Exchange Committee. It says that Voorhees admits to issuing illegal securities and stops doing it because he's not operating Satoshi Dice, pays a fine of a few tens of thousands of dollars, not the millions he made out of this operation, but just a few tens of thousands of dollars, and that's it. Crime pays. You send out securities to people, you gain a lot of money in hyped up initial token distribution. People invest their money, either lose it or win. You buy them out, you cash out on a great business opportunity, and all you have to do is pay a fine. Even you don't have to be incarcerated for one day, and all is fine, all is well. So that was Voorhees' conclusion. Crime pays. That's what he did, but that's not the whole thing. It took a few years, and another person said, well, I want people to have an independent investment fund, a decentralized autonomous organization. I want to make you invest from $1 to $1 million in my fund, and the fund will be run by the algorithm itself. People can vote on how this company will invest. It's not a company in the regular sense. It's not incorporated. It's not registered anywhere. It's an autonomous organization, an entity with life by itself. People sent out Ethereums to this smart contract. They allowed it to operate, and it was worth more than $100 million. It allowed people to vote on which projects they will invest their money in, and they hoped that that vote will grow profits and make them richer, because while the Ether price skyrocketed, went up to a few tens of dollars, I think $12 or $13, while it jumped up, they wanted to make more and more money. So they invested in the DAO. But, well, in the first day, there was this lady who asked about who enforces smart contracts. I don't know if she's here. She said she's a lawyer. Never mind. She said, who enforces smart contracts? There's no judge in the end that reads them. Well, smart contracts do have one problem. They are written by people. And smart contracts, like regular contracts, have bugs. When lawyers write code, they have more bugs. But when they screw up, another lawyer reads it, and during the iteration, it clears up. And if it doesn't, when it comes to a judge, the judge can read the agreement and say, well, I know that you wrote A, but you meant B. It's something I can tell by reading thousands of documents. So I won't enforce this contract. In smart contracts, it just doesn't happen. The code writes the law. So when Lawrence Lessig says, code is law, I say, law is code here. Because when you code something into the smart contract, it just happens. The DAO had a problem. It had one small bug. People could pay into the contract and cash out all the contract's money. And that's exactly what happened. It caused a fork and a rewind of the Ethereum blockchain. That bug caused people to lose a lot of money. And when people lose money, the feds come in. So the Securities and Exchange Committee started to investigate the DAO. And it said that the DAO tokens are considered securities. They stated that when having a medium that allows people to trade value, and when that medium has an expectation of profits derived from the managerial efforts of others, and I'll go down to that legalese later on, then it will be a security. And when it's a security, it's regulated by the Securities and Exchange Committee in the United States. Same law applies in Israel. We have the same securities law almost on a one-to-one basis written here, even with almost exact numbers. So the SEC issued this statement and the pre-ruling, causing a lot of other people to start going into the legitimacy of initial token distributions and asking, is my token considered a security? What is a security? Well, in order to learn what is a security, we have to go back to 1940s. Howie was this guy who had lots of land in Florida. And what do you do in Florida when you have lots of land? Not today, actually. You grow oranges. And when you have enough oranges to feed your family, what do? You sell land to others and tell them, well, you can also grow oranges on my land, on your land. But I know you live far away, and because you live so far away and you don't have time to grow your own oranges, I have this guy here who will take care of your oranges for you. You just have to pay him a revenue share, a premium. Just give him some money out of the profits, and you'll get the rest. You buy the land, I manage everything for you, and you get paid. The Securities and Exchange Committee said that that's a security in the same manner that buying a share in a company or buying an equity in a partnership or giving a company a loan is a security. And it said, and that's the Howie test, that you have 4 pillars you have to meet when you want to check if something is considered an investment contract, where an investment contract is regulated. Not in all cases, but in most cases. The first is the investment of money, or money equivalent. If your service, contract, agreement, whatever token requires an initial investment of money or other effort, then it's a security. If people don't have to buy in, then it most likely will not be a security. Meaning, if you sell your tokens or distribute them against some kind of payment, they will be considered, if you pass the other pillars of the test, as a security. The second is an expectation of profit, meaning if you invest your money, but you don't expect to get any money out of it back, you just want to pay money for a useless token, then it will not be a security. So you have to check whether the people who buy these tokens expect their token value to grow. The third is whether this is a group endeavor. If you buy land and you pay someone to grow oranges on your land, it's not security because it's not a group issue. It's not many people. It's just one guy. But if you have a series of these contracts going and being signed one after the other, then it's a group issue. It's a group contract. And you have to rely on the managerial efforts of others. If it's a collective of people going and farming their own land together, and each has his own land, and they help each other, and they make money, and even if they invested money together, it will not be a security. It will be a partnership or a different kind of investment, but not an investment agreement. If you're the manager, then you're not a security issuer. Now, in the case of the DAO, the SEC ruled that because people, even though they voted, they were subject to the discretion of the company issuing the token in order to curate the projects that they were funding. That was enough discretion to say that the managerial efforts of others is applied. Now, I want to give a few examples on how people try to circumvent the Howey rule in order to distribute tokens. Not all will pass the Howey test in the end, but they're nice attempts. The first is just doing an airdrop. You say, I have a new token. I'll send this token to any Ethereum wallet that has any value in it. The problem, of course, you don't get money out of that ICO. The benefit is that you don't meet the test because you're not asking people to invest money. The next thing is having people get tokens as a reward program. For example, airline miles. You get reward tokens back. You can use them to pay inside this closed loop system. People can maybe trade it in an aftermarket, but they cannot buy the miles against cash from the issuer, nor can they have any use for these miles apart from traveling. The third is gift cards. While there is an aftermarket for gift cards operate, again, under a closed-loop transaction system. You do buy a gift card. People even pay more than the gift card value. If you live in Israel and want an Apple gift card for the United States because you don't have a US credit card and need to hide your geolocation to buy services that are only provided to US citizens, you will pay more. But the value of the token itself will not increase. People will not benefit from holding it. They have one option to sell it. The thing will not go up. The fourth are timeshares. Timeshares are not considered securities because you buy a portion of an apartment, you use it for your own benefit. Even if you sell your timeshare later on as a profit, you are the one who made the apartment profitable. The next is Airbnb under the same benefit. Now, a good example for using a token system is this, Storage. Storage said, we have a token, and we will pay people with our token in order to store files for others. The others, the token holders, have the managerial efforts. You operate your computer, you allow people to store on your computer, and you receive tokens. People pay with these tokens later on. The value of tokens will not go up. Why? Because the cost of storage will keep going down. You might even get more megabytes per token later on. But the value of the system, the service, the medium of exchange here is what's important. There was another Israeli startup who did something quite similar called Lazuz. It was closed down. They had a ride-sharing app that allowed people to gain miles from driving other people, and the drivers could earn money like that. The passengers could pay with their token. They had a successful crowdfunding, but like a lot of other startups, they were ahead of their time. Thank you.